Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Tonight, we welcome in two men with two L's and two Z's. The two hosts of the Enrico Pollazzo Fantasy Baseball Podcast. This Detroit duo, they will make you laugh. They will make you cry. They will make you question what is up and what is down. When you enter their world, they have insane fantasy takes. When you enter their world, they have buttercups everywhere. You feel your seat getting hot? That's because you're being inquisitioned. Two men that might as well write a book with their Deary decimal system. The guys that we are always shining. We welcome in Michael Govier, Christopher Deary. What's going on, gentlemen?
Wow, that's I was waiting for Mike to go. Wow, that's a beautiful introduction. I think you may have topped Mike, who gives some of the best introductions in the game. So thanks for having us on tonight. We're super ecstatic to talk some fantasy baseball.
Yeah, that was a fine job. What a moment it is to be acknowledged by your peers. You know, you don't get that every day, and I am pretty happy. I'm pretty grateful for that. That was really nice. That was like details from our show mixed in with the tribute, and it's nice to have a tribute thrown our way once in a while. And I'm going to commend you guys. You guys are one of my favorite podcasts out there. You know that. And I picked you guys to win the whole Baseball Pods tourney bracket of the Fantasy Baseball Pods. I know you're in a battle right now, but I'm still rooting for you guys.
Thank you.
A battle is an understatement.
We really appreciate the support. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. Govier, I have your podcast in my rotation, and I look forward every single time one comes out because you give me, when I'm hearing like the same blah stuff all the time, I'm like, all right, I need a little pick me up. I need some music. I need some Mr. Belvedere going on. I need some Enrico's Inquisition. You guys are that breath of fresh air I think that we need in that fantasy baseball podcast space. So you become a fixture of mine in my podcast rotation. So the feeling is mutual, my friend.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. Mendy giving out kisses.
But again, I mean, you guys are entertaining.
You guys had Stephen Logan on, though, man. What the fuck? I mean, that's amazing.
That's right. I forgot you guys are the Detroit fans.
Can we not swear in this podcast? I forgot about that. Sorry.
The rule
I'm a human being.
The rule is the guests can do whatever they want. We just don't swear. And then I just have to write the Nathan after.
That's so bizarre. Okay,
I'll keep my clothes on. Don't worry.
I feel like we live in like a free country, and you guys
take them off, Deary. You won't.
East Germany and West Germany. Very strange, but yes, Stephen Logan. He was a kick returner. We had a nice little run for us. Do you remember that?
Oh my God, I remember that guy. He was garbage. Yeah. Come on, he played for
he was just on their show. He ruined the whole bit.
I will not tolerate any Stephen Logan.
Actually, he was probably the best player on the team. It's just he played for the worst team in the league.
That's true.
Okay, that's true.
Not his fault.
No, he was a burner, man. He could run, he could fly. A smaller guy too. I like those kind of players. They're fun.
Didn't he have a deep voice too, Eric? I haven't heard the episode yet, but isn't his voice like insanely deep?
It is pretty deep, and he's 5'6". So I was like, you realize we're eye level. I'm 5'5".
Dude, that's short. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
What?
He's a small dude.
You seem like a guy that's like over 6 feet tall for some reason. This is
me.
This is absurd to me. I mean, you are lower down in the camera, so now it makes sense. Oh yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
No,
man.
Reason being, you resemble a former boss of mine way back in the day where I worked in a kitchen over in Plymouth, Michigan at the Max and Irma's where I met my wife, and he was like 6'2". So you look just like him. So I figured you were like a tall guy.
Yeah, excellent chicken fajita soup over there, by the way.
So I appreciate that.
I have to be honest, tonight I was thinking of doing my first ever intro with filming something and putting it up as an overlay of doing something with some chicken or something like that. I was like, I feel like that's the only way to welcome it on. But I was like, you know what? I'm not going to steal his shtick, even if it is to intro him on. But I got to ask, fellas. I got to ask, what you guys rebranded. We talked a little bit before the show. You guys rebranded. You guys are taking the podcast world by storm. What has the grind been like for you guys? Because you guys, Chris clarified it, 27 episodes since the beginning of January.
It's around there.
Gosh, is it really? I don't know. I can look at the calendar right here, and it's just I mark them all red. You know, it's an Excel sheet.
When they're done.
Sheet. When they're done, the whole row goes red. So we got a lot of red now, and we're mostly done. But yeah, the first number starts at 2, and the last number starts at 32. So whatever that kind of math is how many pods we've done. That's like 30.
You guys are grinding like no other. I cannot even imagine. We struggle doing just one a week. I don't even know.
Let's be honest, though. Let's be honest. I don't ever want to lie. I always try to keep it real.
Yeah.
It's taken a toll a little bit. It's become a little exhausting. I found myself being a little less motivated, welcoming a couple more days between shows recently, being at the end of this grind. It'd be one thing if it was like a daily half-hour show. That's much easier. But if you're doing like 5 shows a week, 4 or 5 shows a week of hour and a half to 2 hours, it's a lot of time. And making sure that the quality of the content stays up, that's a big deal. And I don't take that lightly either, because I don't want to just go out there and do a half-ass show that is like, oh, well, they're slipping now, and they're kind of just doing the same thing over and over again. And so trying to top yourself, but not lose the tradition of how the show's developed. It sounds a lot more complex than maybe I'm making it even, but it can be a bit exhausting. And I always want you to know, Mendy, you guys can steal anything from our show. I don't care. Take any shtick, go to town on it. Seriously, I mean that. It's mi casa su casa. I feel that way.
Hey, I appreciate that. Again, you guys have helped. I think brought fun. That I was telling Deary, you guys brought in, and it made us want to push ourselves to be even I think we're a pretty fun podcast, but I'm like, you know what? That's the type of energy that's infectious, and it's giving us energy. So, I mean, it's all love here. I love the back and forth. I love when I see you have an episode coming out, you have a 2-minute clip. It's a must watch. You guys are doing awesome.
Are you guys
stuff.
going to kiss or what?
Probably before this is all done.
When you're in love, you're in love. One day you'll understand.
Yeah.
You'll get there. Wait, all right, but Doc's in love all the time. His girlfriend comes up on every show.
Oh my gosh.
There it is.
I'm done.
That's so
I'm
true.
done. Y'all are doing this without me.
I pay attention. Sorry.
That's hilarious.
We weren't going to slide on that, Doc. But no, we have a good rapport here, and hopefully we can be symbiotic partners as both of our shows grow equally. I don't see why everybody's show can't do well at the same time. I really don't, because the more the merrier, and the more energy, the better off we all are.
Oh, Yancey, we love you, buddy. We love you. One of the best guys out there, for sure. So we're going to dive in tonight. We're going to talk a little TGFBI, since we're right in the midst of everything, right? It's the forefront of the fantasy baseball world. 29 leagues of fantasy baseball analysts going head-to-head. Who could be the top dog? And talking draft strategies, individual drafts, and basically saying what's in your draft and what's it like drafting with the sharks that you're drafting with. So got some questions I want to ask you guys, but I want to attack Deary's draft first. So we're going to have to put thanks, Yancey. You got to rep the brand. So I want to put Deary's draft on screen. And Deary, I hope I have the right draft picked out. This your board. This look like your board.
I see a Twitter thread.
Yeah, what am I looking at right now?
It's somewhere in there.
Somewhere, I'm sure it is.
We're getting there.
One.
Yeah, by the way, that new logo, I didn't get a chance. We haven't had a chance to talk since you guys rebranded. It's fire. It's legit. It's nice. It's smooth. I love blue. I'm big. You could tell I love blue, so I think this is a good call. And I like that hat. That hat reminds me of hats we used to have back in the day for my old band. Very cool.
There it is. Yeah, you got it there, Mendy.
Yeah,
Yancey's cracking jokes.
Yeah, it's a good thing they can't see that on the podcast version. They think I'll just nail it first try. But so your draft, where did you pick from, Deary?
I picked from number 10, so that was my number 2 preference in KDS.
All right, so you got your number 2 preference, pick number 10. I want to start asking you, we can't see the names, we can just see team numbers. Who were some of the big dogs in your draft that you were drafting with?
So it's funny, you asked this question in kind of the preface of the doc you sent to us. Obviously, Matty Wood's been on our pod. I actually wasn't there that time. Brant from Baseball HQ. But I likened it back to when I was a pitcher in high school. We had a coach who would go and scout other teams. He'd come back if I was lined up to pitch against a team. And he'd want to give me the scouting report. You know, this is the big hitters. You know, these are the guys you want to avoid. These are the guys you want to throw sliders to. And I'm like, I don't want to know anything. It's going to totally change how I pitch to them. So I didn't want to know anything about any of these guys until I got into the draft. I didn't want it to freak me out. I'm like, look, I'm a fantasy player just like anyone else. We all have the same opportunities to grab the same players. So I didn't let it intimidate me, but there's some heavy hitters in the league. And then there's also some guys that are, early into their fantasy career, don't have a ton of follows on Twitter like myself, but that's perfectly fine. We all have the same opportunity. And I think I've constructed a pretty decent team so far.
So let's dive in your first 2 picks, and then I want to hear from the other guys kind of after you give your process, why you took the 2 you did, just their thoughts of how you started out. So why don't you tell us the 2 guys you picked obviously on screen, and then kind of explain why you did that, and then we're going to kind of give a panel judge here, just how we feel about it.
Yeah, so I don't want to pick at the start of the draft. And the reason I don't is because I want to be able to go top hitter or top pitcher or vice versa. I love those first 5 hitters on the board: Acuna, Betts, Tatis, Soto, Trout, and, even Turner. I love all those guys, but I think there's 5 or 6 guys after that can put up just as much equal value. There's just as many 5-cat stat guys that are there. Story, Ramirez, Yelich, Bellinger. I like all those guys. And I want to be able to, if Bieber, Cole, or DeGrom do fall to me, I want to be able to take one of those and then come back on the back end and then grab my hitter. So the way it worked out is if Bieber was there at 10, I was taking him. Story was there at 10. It was between Story, Ramirez, and Bellinger for me. I took Trevor Story. He's going to be able to give me my stolen bases. He's going to be able to hit 25 home runs. It'll be interesting to see if he's going to score as many runs with Arenado gone. I'm interested to see how that's going to work out with him gone, but I still think he's super solid. He'll bat 275 to 285. So I grabbed Trevor Story right away. On the back end, I'm going pitcher. Top guy on my board was Lucas Giolito. Giolito ended up going 13th, came back around, Nola went, and then it was going to be between Darvish and Bueller, whichever one was available. Darvish went, I took Bueller. Super happy with those first 2 picks right there.
So I'll ask you first, and then I'll turn it over. I'll Govier comment first. You took Story over Ramirez. Was there a reason why? I mean, they both, I feel like, are very similar as far as they have some stolen base upside. They're both probably good for 20 or more home runs easy. And they are both obviously multi-category contributors. And then again, the Bueller, I see Luis Castillo went after the Bueller pick. How come you liked Walker Bueller over Luis Castillo? Because Dodgeritis is a real thing, and you have to kind of wonder, are they going to let him fully go, give him the innings, let him actually pick up wins? So can you explain just for that, for me at least, before I turn it to the other guys?
Yeah, with Story and Ramirez, and I did learn this later in the draft, is shortstops are super, super deep. Mm-hmm. But Trevor Story, besides Acuna, is like my second favorite player in the league. I have him in my deep keeper league. So it's like, oh man, you know what? I can't go against what I've done in every other league is I target Trevor Story. I have a Trevor Story t-shirt upstairs. I'm like, okay, I'm taking Story, even though Ramirez is probably, in terms of value in third baseman, you're going to be able to you're going to have a hard time finding another third baseman that's going to give you 5-cat value. It just doesn't exist in really anybody else. Maybe Manny Machado. So then on the back end, it was Bueller. I have Bueller as my 5th SP. I have Giolito as number 4. It was Bueller. I think Bueller is going to be able to be one of the few guys that gives you 200 Ks. I do like Luis Castillo. I think when you get past those top 3, Bauer, Giolito, Nola, Darvish, Bueller, Castillo are absolute locks. They're guys who can be tier 1 guys. I have all those guys in my second tier. And I like, guys like Kershaw and Scherzer and Flaherty. I like them too, but I'm depending on Bueller to be able to strike out 200 guys. I understand, a lot of people talk about the Dodgers maybe pulling back or, he's had some injury issues in the past, but I feel confident that he's going to be able to give me enough innings. He's going to get a ton of wins. Dodgers are going to win a lot of games. And I feel pretty safe having Walker Bueller there in the second round.
I didn't know we were going to have live picks on the screen as that was happening. That's actually pretty dope. So I want to turn it over to Govier first. Govier, do you like where he went with his first 2 picks, or would you have gone a little differently at that slot if it was you?
He's on mute, and I don't think he knows.
You know what? That was rookie error. Thank you. I'm not a rookie though. What a bunch of trash that was. I muted my board, but I wasn't muted on here. And that happens. Society has these rules, and I try to play by them, but I made a mistake.
You were my
Let's try that
favorite.
again.
You were my favorite mime for 10 seconds.
That's exactly what it was. It was beautiful.
So Deary's been in this game a long time. He's got a lot of knowledge and experience. He's played fantasy baseball for many, many years, decades now. Okay, he's been around. He's old, like me. We're not spring chickens. We're still ruthless and hardcore, and we got a lot of energy and passion. Just because you're older doesn't mean you're finished by any means. But what he's done here is take a guy that is rock solid. Trevor Story is rock solid. You want reliability and elite production in your first round pick. Great call. I think he's actually a little more trustworthy than Jose Ramirez, so that's smart. And then coming back down with Walker Bueller, I love it. I love Bueller this year. I remember I was talking with Scott White on Twitter about a week or so ago, and he was saying Bueller's one of his busts, guys he can't rely on because of the innings limitations, and the Dodgers might play games like they do with their pitchers. We all know the story there. It's not a secret. But I think Bueller's ratios and what he will give you, which we still don't know what that'll be, because he's gone deep before. A couple years ago, he gave us a nice, healthy dose of innings. So it's in the cards. It's not beyond reproach. So give me Bueller. I think he's reliable. When he pitches, he will give you great returns. And in a season where we just don't know where the innings will come from for a lot of different teams, I think he's reliable as they come.
All right, well said. I want to, Deary, go back to you. Explain kind of your next, let's go 5 rounds, just kind of a quick synopsis of how you went about that. You took 2 hitters, 2 pitchers, and a closer, or 2 starting pitchers and a closer. And then Cheesecake, I would love to hear your thoughts once kind of Deary goes through his process, how you think he attacked it. So go ahead, Deary. What do you tell us how it went about?
That would be in the 7th round, Matt Chapman, not Aroldis Chapman.
Well, look at all these mistakes.
I do not have a relief pitcher yet, and it's funny. Everybody is kicking relief pitching down the road in this league. So yeah, coming back around, I was just looking for best available, and I was actually surprised that Robert was there. He had a terrible September last year. Before that, he was batting .297 going into September. I think he's another guy who's going to be able to steal 25 bases. He's going to bat probably 6th or 7th in a really, really stacked lineup. So I'm like, here we go. Rock solid right there. He's going to be able to give me, possibly 85 RBIs. He's going to score some runs. And if I can grab guys that are going to steal 20 to 25 bases in the 2 of the first 3 picks, I'm all on board with that. People that are going to go after Mondesi, who's going to steal, as Yancey said last night, 55 stolen bases. Well, I got 55 stolen bases between these 2 guys. So that was really my thought with Robert. I didn't think he was going to be there, but I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and grab him. Coming back around, I didn't really have any thought process on who I wanted, but then I started thinking, okay, I'd like a first baseman. Do I want Vlad Guerrero? Do I want Alonso? I feel like Story and Robert are both going to give me pretty decent average. We're going to get 275 to 295 on the high end. Pete Alonso's probably only going to bat 240, maybe 255 at tops, but this guy's going to hit 40 home runs. So now I have 3 guys. 2 guys are going to steal a good amount of bases, have good amount of RBIs. All 3 of these guys can hit 30 home runs, and Pete Alonso is going to hit 40. So there's my first baseman. I'm set there. When we get into round 5, I don't have a pitcher yet, or I don't have a SP2 yet. I've been targeting Ryu for a long time. I have him in my top 20. He's in my tier 3. I've been talking about him a lot the last 2 weeks. I feel like he's going to lead the American League in wins. He's in a team that's going to be really, really competitive. And the guy's just rock solid. Like, he does not give up hard hit balls, ground ball type pitcher. I feel like he's going to be one of those guys that can give you 180 innings. So I grab Ryu. Okay. So coming back around, I'm like, all right, I would love to get a third pitcher and then just kick pitching down the road after that. Jose Barrios, another guy that we talked about with Yancey last night, that people forget about Jose Barrios. He's a guy who can give you 180 innings. Sure, his ERA might be mid 3s to high 3s, but the guy's got an electric slider, power fastball, and he's reliable. He's been doing it for 3 years. And I talked about it last night on the pod. He's not going to become Garrett Cole, but if there's one guy I think that could turn into a guy who turns into a top 5 to top 10 pitcher, it's Jose Barrios. He's been doing this for 4 or 5 years now, and he's been consistent. He's gotten better every single year, and I'm super happy to get him. So there's my 3 pitchers right there. Now it gets a little interesting after that. I The next pick after that, I went Matt Chapman. I'm like, okay, I got to go another hitter. I have an outfielder. I got to get somebody on the infield. Matt Chapman is a guy that I've liked. Last year, he had some hip problems, had a small surgery in the offseason. During spring training so far this year, he's only been DHing. He's just been taking some ground balls lightly here and there. This guy murders the ball when he is healthy. And throughout 2020, I think he's going to be able to come back and give a ton of power in a nice A's offense. So that's a little more power right there. And then after that, I'm like, okay, with Alonso and Chapman probably having averages that are going to be pretty low, let's go with the steady Eddie guys. Let's go with Charlie Blackmon and Michael Brantley. These guys are going to be able to bat close to 300, if not 300. Blackman's not going to steal you 40 bases like he did 5-6 years ago, but he's still going to be able to hit 300. I know he's 35 years old. I know Brantley's 33 years old, but I need guys that are dependable. We've had so many guests on our pods that are into guys that are just dependable, that what you're getting out of them. So that's why I went with those next two guys. I need guys that are going to build up my average a little bit. And, I brought up an insane fantasy take last night that with Arenado gone, maybe Charlie Blackmon steals a few more bases. Maybe he just gives some more attempts. He hasn't been stealing bases. Stole 43, I think 5 or 6 years ago, but maybe he gives me a couple steals, but I already have Robert and Story there. So I like where I went there with getting some guys that had average.
Cheesecake, what are your thoughts on his process in these middle round picks here after the first two? What do you think?
Well, I think the 5-tool player in Roberts, getting him for your second hitter, you can't fall far behind on stolen bases, which is why all these guys with power and speed go in the first 3, 4, 5 rounds. He's one of the best ones left after the first round. That's a great get. Alonso has that massive power, as you talked about. I love Hyunjin Ryu as much as Chris does. I want him on as many teams as I can get him on. I went with a different strategy, so I wasn't picking pitchers at that point in the draft in TGFBI, and also I'm on the end, so I kind of didn't have a chance with him. But I love him, and I think that.
Way to call him out.
Stop Yancey.
So because Ryu's just he's been the ace that the Blue Jays signed him to be. He was great his last year with the Dodgers. He was excellent his first year in Toronto, and I have no hesitation taking him as my number 2, because I think he's going to be just as good as he has been. Barrios is a solid 3. I think that you have to get innings. He's gonna accumulate the strikeouts. And I think, you look at a 3.8 ERA is about what you're going for as a team. I think he's not hurting you in that respect as well. And his whip is going to be pretty good.
Oh, God.
What happened?
Oh my God, that's great. Oh my God.
Yancey's dropping bombs.
And then
so great. Oh
then
my God. Yeah,
I love you, Yancey.
Deary, let's finish up your draft and let's talk about the last 3 picks. We'll go with the first 10 rounds and then we'll move on to Govier's draft. Want to make sure we can keep it efficient for everybody. So give us we'll go around the first 10 rounds for everybody, their processes, and then move on. So give us rounds 8, 9, and 10. You took, where is your team? You already talked about Blackmon and Brantley.
Blackmon, Brantley, and then at that point, it was like, do I reach for a closer? I mean, I like Kirby Yates, but I'm a little nervous about him. I like the situation he's in, but he's coming back. He's coming back from surgery. So I was like, okay, let's kick that down the road. This is a 2-catcher league. Everybody knows this. We're all a part of it. Mm-hmm. Travis Denard's going to bat in the middle of the Braves lineup. He had an excellent year in 2020. Mike put the siren on, and he's going to bat in the middle of the lineup. So 130 games, possibility of hitting 20 home runs. He batted, I believe, 285 last year. He batted 320 last year. I think he projects more to like a 265 to 285, but batting in the middle of a Braves lineup, I think it's going to be super solid. And then I'll even mention rounds 11 and 12. I ended up going with Rhys Hoskins and Marco Gonzalez. So there wasn't a ton of guys that got sniped for me. In round 11 in round 12, I did. Let me see. Oh yeah, Marquez I wanted, Soler I wanted, and Ian Happ I wanted, and that's why I ended up going with Hoskins. I don't have any relief pitching yet, but if you look at the board, no one is going after relief pitching. The top like 7 guys are off the board, and everything else is getting kicked down the road. So just grab Marco Gonzalez as we started this pod. He'll be my 4th guy. I think it's just dependable. He's not going to blow you away, but he's just going to throw fastballs and sinkers and changeups and sliders that just get beat up into the ground. And I think he'll be able to win enough games on a Seattle team that I'm actually excited about, especially once the kids come. I think they're going to have a chance to at least be competitive offensively. So he's going to be the ace there. So I like how the team has shaped out so far, but it's those middle rounds. It's that 13 to 20 where you can really scoop up some guys that end up being, top 100, top 150 guys. So we'll see how it goes from here, but I'm pleased with my team so far.
Apparently, you need to draft faster too.
Oh, I draft real fast.
I love it, Matty Wood. Call him out. But no, I mean, the team looks good. I think you're way ahead of me. Nice. I think you have a nice start, a nice foundation. You'll be able to get closers later on. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Govier. Let's slide over into the DMs and let's go to League 10. All right.
You sure you want to do this?
Oh yeah, I love sliding in those DMs to League 10. So let's.
Yeah,
this
I bet
board,
you do, Panama Red.
This board looks very interesting. That I promise everybody else is going to be able to see in 1 second.
Ooh,
So,
juicy. I like it.
so this is.
You like the juice?
Yeah.
Juice is good, yes.
Hey, get you
So-
some more juice.
What pick did you have?
Well, I am where I'm always at. To know me is to know that I am at the turn 24/7 all the time. Oh, God, no. My microphone crisis. Why, God, why does that have to happen in a live show? Anyways, yeah, I'm always at the turn everywhere, all the time. I can't think of a draft where I have not been at the turn lately. It's pretty
There.
usual.
Now I'm eating it, Nancy.
So you're at 15,
Yes.
and you went Giolito and Freeman. I love those picks, and I'm not just saying that because we have a bromance going on right now. So tell us, Giolito, Freeman. Looking at the board, Giolito is the 4th pitcher off the board. Was he your SP4 all along?
Of course he was. Isn't that what you do, right? Am I wrong?
He's my SP4.
Same.
Mike
same
and I
with
are
me.
simpatico.
I'm all.
Yay!
But you went.
Look.
So this is the part where I think it's kind of interesting. You went Freeman, who's obviously steady batting average floor, is going to hit you 30 bombs, is very consistent in a lot of categories. He doesn't give you much steals though. So I'm
No.
curious, how come you chose Freeman over a Bryce Harper or a guy that might have some stolen base potential going for you here?
Well, that's because I know there's steals later in the draft, and I don't have to sweat it. And that's what I ended up doing later. So I knew take a guy that is elite and rock solid like Freeman, batting average, home runs, everything, no steals, everything but the steals. That's what he is. And I love it. I don't actually love him that much. Like, he's not a player I target very often, but in the moment, this is a lesson for everybody. You got to know where you are, what the draft will look like, and how it's starting to develop. I made a decision right then and there. I'm taking Giolito because he's basically my 4th or 5th SP. I love him a lot. I think he can win the Cy Young this year in the American League. And then I took Freeman because after that, Bryce Harper's too inconsistent. He could win an MVP or he could kind of be good. And that's fine. But that's not what I'm looking for in my first 2 picks. So when I was at that turn on the 2nd pick, I said, Mondesi, another pitcher? I don't like going pocket aces. That's not really my thing. That's Toby's thing. So I went with Freeman, who I thought was reliable as anybody.
Can't say that's not. Again, I think you went pretty well in your first 2 picks. Doc, I'm interested once you stop eating your microphone.
Okay, sorry.
Do you? What do you think at the 15th spot? Would you have done what Govier did? What do you think about that?
So I really love Freddie Freeman, but I think first base is so deep and you can get a lot of value underneath there. And I understand he's consistent. He hits in a good lineup, but I probably would have gone Bryce Harper just because you need 5 outfielders and Bryce Harper is going to give you a little bit more stolen base upside. But I don't think you can go wrong with the pick that he had because he's picking someone that has really good upside that plays in a weak division. And he's playing somebody, and he picked someone that's as consistent as they come. So
But it's not that deep, Doc. It's not. First base is a cliff. There's a cliff that happens pretty quickly. And I think there's a big difference between Pete Alonso and Freddie Freeman.
But there's other people I think that you can nab later that I don't want to give away in case somebody's in my league watching. But I got Goldie in the 7th round, and I felt like that was a value there. But it was between him and Altuve, and if I took Altuve, there were a few people I was prepared to get rounds 10, 11, 12 that could still, provide that power upside, maybe not the batting average you'd get out of a first baseman.
Right. That's the key here. This is a roto league. Batting average is a category. And when it comes to first base, there's just not a lot of guys that can give you a batting average that Freeman can give you. They can give you the power, and they can give you a decent batting average at time. But Matt Olson, other guys, they're just not going to do what Freeman can do. And I've come to terms with that. I wasn't always down with that. But now I'm here, and I'm living the Freeman lifestyle day by day, Doc.
The Freeman lifestyle sounds like where it's at, honestly. It sounds like it's on a beach somewhere. It sounds like you got a nice margarita. No, I'm all for it. All for it. So then why don't you tell us, same kind of fashion here, go through your next 5 picks, your thought process, if the board fell like how you thought it was going to. Just kind of walk us through the mind of Michael Govier through these middle 5 rounds here.
I don't know if you want to do that, but if you ask, I submit. You are the host, and I will do as I'm told. By the way, living the Freeman lifestyle means you get to live in a badass offense in Atlanta. That's a good life.
Yeah.
That's the kind of life you want to be living. So remember that. But with my 3rd pick, remember, I'm on the turn, guys. The turn, you have to do some digging and reaching sometimes. You got to go a little bit. You got to forget ADP. Just throw ADP out. You got to make sure you get your guys because you're waiting.
Easy as 1, 2, 3.
4
draft.
I'm cutting you off there. I don't want to hear you sing anymore. Go ahead, Govier.
I think he's got a beautiful singing voice. It's so gorgeous. I will say that when you're on the turn, you have to get your guys, and you got to throw out ADP because you got to wait 29 picks in between, and you have no idea who's going to be there by the time it comes back to you. So make sure that you lock in the categories and start building your roster how you want it to. And you guys said, well, you didn't get any steals early, but that's exactly what I did with my next 2 picks, getting Starling Marte and Whit Merrifield. I don't have any Whit Merrifield shares. This was the first time that I drafted Whit Merrifield. Again, changed my approach. Said, hey, maybe I don't know everything. Merrifield will fit the roster now, so I got to do what I got to do. He will steal bags. That's one thing we could probably count on. Batting average, pretty good. So he's going to reinforce that. And Starling Marte does the same thing as Merrifield. Probably steal more bags than Merrifield, in my opinion, but they're the same kind of guys with the batting average and steals. Not a ton of pop, but Marte could give you 20 bombs, that's fine because I can still make up power later. And then Moncada could be the MVP this year. He really could. He's about to explode onto the scene in an electric fashion with so much beautiful grace. He's going to steal bags. He's going to give you 10 to 15 of those. He can hit 30 home runs in that Chicago ballpark. He can hit for average. You've already seen it. He had that ridiculous BABIP a couple years ago, one of the highest BABIPs since World War II. But it's something that he can do, and he's done in his minor league career, so it's not a fluke. So I'm all in on Moncada, and I love skipping out on third base early on to get Moncada in the 80s, 70s. I had to reach it a little bit there at 75, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'll talk about mine later. I love your 3rd and 4th round picks respectively. Like I have nothing bad to say about that. I think you were able to target, you get some batting average, you get stolen bases. Obviously those guys most likely aren't going to hit 30 home runs, but you don't need that from them. You'll be able to get plenty of power later on. I don't think you can go wrong. And Moncada, I believe, stole double-digit bases in 2019. So he might give you some bags this year too. So, I mean, I love that middle 3 there. And then you took out with some batting average, you got Jeff McNeil in round 6. So,
oh, yeah, that's my guy too. These are my guys. So I'm going to take my guys because that's what you do at the turn. You take your guys.
If you didn't even show me Mike's board, I could name 5 of his first 10 picks because I've been doing so many pods with him since January. I know he's getting Jeff McNeil. I know he's getting Dylan Bundy. I know he's getting Starling Marte. I know he's getting Juan Moncada.
That's true. But the Whit Merrifield is a big surprise. So
that wasn't a surprise, but you've said some positive things about him.
That's great value for Merrifield, though. Like the position flexibility, you plug him in at second base, and that's one of the probably shallowest positions I've seen. Or you move him to outfield if you can get a second baseman later.
Yes,
here we go. I know you're getting Gary Sanchez. You got him.
so then we're gonna look now. Let's look a little bit down here. You took 3 straight pitchers. You went Bundy, Alcantara, and Pablo Lopez. Now, you can be honest. Was this because you were like, there was a pitching run and you were like, I need to get some pitchers? Was it that this was the best value to you at this point in the draft? How come you went 3 straight at this spot?
Yeah, it sucks being a public analyst because if people actually listen to you, then they might take your approach and steal from you. But hey, you got to call your shot and still do well, as Matt Williams says. So I believe in that process as well. I took Alcantara because I thought he wouldn't come back to me. I was talking about reaching. You got to reach a little bit on the turn because you never know. I actually battled over Lopez and Alcantara for like 2 hours. And then I ended up taking Alcantara, and Lopez ends up coming down to me on that pick. So I had to take Lopez when he came back. I was certain that Lopez would have been gone for sure where I got him. That's why I took Alcantara thinking, well, I just like Alcantara a little bit better than Lopez. But since Lopez was there, I took Lopez. And I believe in Bundy.
It's a great feeling.
It is. It was shocking. These TGFBI drafts are fascinating. You got people in the biz. You got people who play for money. You got no money at stake, but you're playing for pride. So to me, this is still people giving their best shots. But in the high-stakes leagues I've played in already, like a lot of drafts, I've done about 8 or 9 drafts, some high-stake ones with like Vlad Sedler, some OCs, a lot of NFBC drafts, and it seemed like you could kind of rely on what they would do. And TGFBI is not as reliable for the expectations of where players will fall. So that was a big surprise. And I'm a grateful surprise, though, because I love the Marlins rotation. Sixto Sanchez is the third of the 3 of those, in my opinion. I would rather have Alcantara and Lopez, but I love the Marlins rotation.
No, they're very young and exciting. And again, I think you took the 2 reliable arms that have been there a couple of years that, will give you the innings too. Sixto Sanchez is a little bit more of a wild card. So you have the 2 steadier guys. And then let's just finish out your draft right here where you're at. You're actually already in round 14. And you have Carlos Correa, Gary Sanchez. I know this since I remember the show Vlad was on. And he's been pumping Carlos Correa. And I'm the same way. I was like, when Vlad talks, I listen. And that was one of the guys I wanted to try to get to. And I commend you because I think it's a good spot to get him in too. So you were able to snag Carlos Correa, Gary Sanchez, who round 11, if he bounces back, he's already hit a couple home runs this spring. He's slimmed down. You may be getting him at a huge discount. And then you got Shohei Ohtani, Devin Williams, Andrew Benintendi. Cheesecake, I would love to hear your thought on these picks, and then Mike to defend why he went the way he did.
Far from me to say that Vlad Sedler is wrong, but I'm not really. I'm concerned with Correa's playing time this season, and I think that his drop in ADP shows that the concern is shared. But at that point, like so many people say, don't ding him more. He's already being discounted for the reasons you are discounting him. So you take him at the ADP. By adding discounts, you're double counting things. That's what you don't kid a kidder.
That's right.
So I love Sanchez. I think he's a he could be huge. He could be an amazing value there. 30 some home runs. There's a 50-50 shot he leads all catchers in home runs, but there's a 50-50 shot he hits like 180.
Oh, he'll do both.
Yeah, or do both.
No,
Yeah.
He's going to hit over 200. That's ridiculous.
We talked about it last night. He'll bet 240.
But you had a good. He hasn't
hit 240 in 3 years.
You had a good average base before taking him, I think. So I mean, you're also covering CYA with that. Devin Williams is going to provide great ratios. I don't think he's going to ever take over the closer role, but he's going to be giving you over 100 Ks, and his ratios are going to be amazing. What was that picture right before him? It's kind of small on my screen.
Ohtani.
Oh, Shohei Ohtani. Oh, see, now I want
Mr. Everything.
You're willing to shoulder that headache, Govier?
You betcha.
Yeah.
I love it.
Why
the headaches are over now. The ibuprofen has been passed out, and there will be no more pain. It's all good now. It's going to be headache-free, no more migraines. You're going to be feeling great. Just take 2 of these and call me in the morning. So that's what I'm doing with Give me two. Shohei Ohtani is so damn good. God, I don't like the pitcher so much, but I love the hitter so much that I'm willing to bet that I'm going to get my money's worth of this pick. And it's risky. Yes, it's risky. No doubt about it. But I just know he's so good. He can steal bags, too. God, he's so fast for being 6'4", 225. He's really elite sprint speed. He's up there like the top 10 percentiles of the league. You'd be surprised because he's so big. But he's going to steal bags. He can hit for a decent average. Forget last year. That was... he came off the Tommy John and he didn't pitch well, so that made him depressed. He got sad for a while, and it affected his whole makeup. And the team was falling apart. They needed a new beginning, a fresh start. They got rid of the GM. Joe Madden's there. It's a whole new day in Anaheim. And there's no more Ohtani days. You're going to take a day off before and after you pitch. They're not saying that anymore. They're saying we're not going to do that. So that's good news for the hitter.
Yeah, I mean, I like it because in the TGFBI, if you want to make your mark, you go big or go home, right? If you just play it safe, most likely you're not going to be anywhere where it's going to matter. But if you take those risks and they pay off, that's how you get to the top of the leaderboard. So I like risking it there. I think it actually works out really well to you. And I like the team. I'm all for it.
I don't have a Devin Williams anywhere. That was the first time I've taken him in any draft. I've not had any interest, but I thought about it. You need relievers in this type of league. If you want to win the overall, if you want to go for the big chip, you need relievers, and I really believe that Hader will be traded eventually. The rumors are always there. They never go away. So I'm kind of banking on, again, this is the same thing you just described, Mendy. I'm taking a chance that Williams will get some trash saves, some leftovers initially, and if Hader gets moved, he'll definitely be the guy.
No, I love it. And I agree. I mean, especially if Milwaukee gets out of it early on, he's going to be their most attractive trade chip, most likely, because I don't see them trading Yelich in any way, shape, or form. So there you go. I love it. Let's move to Yancey's on the same page. If Devin Williams might be a top 3 closer if Josh Hader gets traded. So I like the aggressive call there. Let's go to Doc's team next.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Can't wait to hear this, Yancey.
All right, so I'm ready for Yancey to be trashing Doc's team.
Everyone's going to pile on Doc here.
Yeah. So, Doc, where did you draft from?
I drafted out of the 10 hole, just like Deary.
Oh. All right, so you're in the 10 hole.
We don't share any of the same players. This is fun.
No, wait till you go down. I took D'Arnaud and Brantley.
Why are you?
And Brantley, yeah.
Eric, we're getting there.
All right, sorry.
So you started out Christian Yelich, Jack Flaherty. So why don't you tell us the process behind your picks? Because I think you had someone sniping you a lot of this draft.
Yeah. So shout out to Carlos. You are just a sniper.
Marcano?
Carlos Marcano's our guy.
Yeah, I love him, but I don't want to bring back any more drafts with him. Bubba's at 14. Honorable shout out to him. But for Yelich, he's somebody that was a top 5 pick last year, and I think a lot of times we're not realizing that it was a 60-game sample, that he could have gotten really hot over the course of the year. He's only 29. He will provide you a little stolen base upside, and I think Milwaukee as a whole is going to bounce back. I think everyone underperformed on that team last year.
Amen.
I like Trevor's story. I am just worried about that offense now that Arenado is traded. I don't think he has as much protection behind him. He's a very free swinger. So I could see him strike out a lot and maybe get frustrated and not take as many walks, which would limit his steal upside. And with my second pick, I'm a big Jack Flaherty fan. He, in the second half of 2019, had less than a 1 ERA and 99 innings pitched. Obviously, he will never probably do that again. But I think that shows that upside and that ceiling that he has, that it's ace potential. So, Arenado, he's amazing.
That's Eric's president of the Nolan Arenado fan club.
Deary,
yeah.
I remember our show. I remember our episode you guys came on. I'll never forget it.
Oh, wow. Thanks, man.
Because you love Arenado. You were like, Arenado, give me Arenado all day.
Give me day, give me no.
What is happening right now? So I'm interested. Deary, I'll go to you first. You were in the same spot. Obviously, you went Story at that spot. I don't remember if Yelich had been taken or not. But yeah, okay. So, do you like where Doc went? Like, are you okay with it, or you have a lot of questions for the 2 guys he went at the top here?
So Yelich goes 14 in my league. like I'm absolutely fine with Yelich. I think it's really, really hard to screw up the first 2 rounds, especially if you go hitter pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Flaherty's number 10 on my board. What is he here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think he's number 10 right here. So that's absolutely fine. What really interests me, Blake Snell went 4th round in our league. He went 2nd round in your league. But like I'm fine. You got your hitter and you got your pitcher. I think Flaherty, you throw out what happened in 2020. He had 2 just like horrid starts. Like everything that happened last year is garbage. I love the park that he pitches in. He's going to be rock solid. He'll be just fine. It's interesting when it comes back around and you go Arenado and then back around on the turn there, you go Lance Lynn. So Doc, you want to talk through those 2 picks there and what your thought process was?
So I'm higher on Arenado than most, and I think everybody is dinging Arenado last year because of his numbers, but he had a nagging shoulder injury, which was only his 2nd stint on the IL. So I'm putting him in a better hitting offense. And once again, I think everybody's dinging the Cardinals, but they had a 27-day break between, I think it was like the 3rd game of the season they had and when they next played because they had that huge COVID outbreak. So that Jack Flaherty in his first start after that went 2 innings. So obviously if he's on a normal schedule, but Arenado, consistent batting average, I think will provide 30+ home runs, some RBIs, some good runs. Go,
Yancey wants to know, did he get a new shoulder?
Yes, it looks good.
Like a robotic shoulder, they just put it in.
And then for Lance Lynn, I wasn't the highest on him for years, but I was like, you know what? He's just a consistent guy now. He's going to play in a very weak division. I think the White Sox have all-in aspirations. So I don't think they're going to limit his innings. I think that this is their time. I think they've been a dark horse to go to the World Series. And besides Giolito, maybe Dallas Keuchel. I mean, he's that number 2, right?
I think he is as of right now, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, but
he'll probably give the 2nd most innings for them.
And to be honest, Liam Hendricks is the closer. You don't have to worry about the White Sox Metsing and blowing the lead for them.
Well, there you go. So let's talk about the next few picks here, and I want to get Cheesecake's thoughts on these kind of middle round picks before you explain your process, Doc. You went Zach Plesac, Paul Goldschmidt, Brad Hand, Marcus Semien, and Travis d'Arnaud with your next 5. Cheesecake, where he's at in the draft, the guys he took, we're in a group chat where you are constantly asking each other what our thoughts are at the time. So how do you feel he went with each of these picks?
I mean, I think Plesac is going to be really good this year. I'm not quite as high on him as Dave McDonald, but I think that you got a really good pitcher there. You got your 3rd pitcher out of the way, and that's your 5th round. Is that right? You got 3 pitchers?
Yeah, it's the 5th.
Yeah. Goldschmidt, I think, his depressed acquisition price right now is a good buying opportunity. Hand is the guy in DC. I think you just missed out on someone I like a lot more in Trevor Rosenthal. I think
no. Hard pass on that.
You took Hand before Rosenthal?
Yeah.
Is that right? See, I would have gone Rosenthal over Hand. Rosenthal was just a strikeout machine when he got to last season after he got the role and in San Diego. I think he could be a top 5 closer this year. Pretty easy. And then Semien, at that point, shortstops are really skinny position. Hard to get value there. And d'Arnaud, I think, had the 8th best catcher season of the past 5 seasons last year. And he was splitting time. So I think he's going to get more playing time this season. I love where he's going in drafts. I think he's going to be providing fantastic value there.
Doc, I guess you're just going to let him compliment you and we can move on to
I didn't compliment Brad Hand. I said he should have taken Rosenthal.
All right, I don't think Brad Hand ever had like a 99 ERA like Trevor Rosenthal did with his time with the Nationals.
There you go.
Yeah, okay, so here's the deal with Trevor Rosenthal. He's 2 years from Tommy John, and it took him a while to locate his fastball again, and he's finally figured it out. Mike, do you even remember Trevor Rosenthal was on the Tigers for like 2 months a couple of years ago? This actually happened. Yeah, nobody remembers this happened. He just got dumped and he was left for dead. The Tigers. Yeah, he was left for dead.
But also here's my thinking. I'm more worried about Jake Diekman taking the closer role than I am of Daniel Hudson taking it from Brad Hand.
Well, I think it's Tanner Rainey that's the next guy up for the Nats more than Hudson.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think he's the closer in waiting. I agree. Well, I think it's a very
Wrong.
hard situation because I have Jake Diekman as my sleeper for relievers because he made so many improvements last year. He was like the number one person in upping his ground ball percentage among all active pitchers, decreasing line drive percentage. I think he was the number one among all pitchers last year too. So like, there's just so much there, and Oakland goes one guy just like the Nats do. But I do think that Jake Diekman has the ability, if something were to happen to Rosenthal, or Rosenthal isn't effective. So I can see why you would think that, Doc.
Bolts God, Jake Diekman.
He is.
I have
Govier, I
4
wanna
shares
hear.
of Daniel Hudson, by the way. So
Do you?
yeah.
From what I've been hearing, everybody is really talking about that they're grooming Rainey to be the closer. Whether it's this year if Hand's not good or the following year. So that's just from what
Geographically, you guys are closer than I am, so I must have. You know what's funny about the fantasy industry is that we automatically defer to people who are geographically closer to a team, though they might not know anything more, like network-wise or like intellectually. Because like it's not like we all, hey, if you live within 100 miles of a baseball team, you have a direct line to the front office. No, I mean, I just because we're Tigers fans, don't ask us like, hey, what do you think about so and so? We don't know, we don't. But you do get a little bit more of that regional coverage if you're tuned in. So I can understand that point, but I think it gets a little overblown sometimes.
Well,
No,
they don't talk Tigers baseball on local radio because we're just such garbage. Somehow they talk Lions all day. It's the worst.
I
ever.
feel like they can just talk Red Wings and that's it.
They haven't
Oh,
talked.
Red
They haven't
Wings!
talked Red Wings in 5 years.
Yeah, that's a.
Yancey, what is your obsession with me? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
What's the deal?
hairline
What
is good.
But
He said
look,
it-
Mendy, yeah, the hairline thing, unbelievable. But Mendy, I want to tell you that the Hudson thing might have been a mistake because upon further review, I did draft Hudson like in January like 3 times, so that was a while ago. So I don't know. I'm kind of backing off that now because he had some blowups and his overall career numbers and ratios aren't that great. So you might be on the right track with the Rainey call.
Yeah, I mean, I know Rainey also can throw 100, and Hudson, besides that one magical playoff run they had to win the World Series, he wasn't great. So, I mean, it's all a crapshoot at the end of the day, but you can just go off based off what you're seeing and hearing. And so, I mean, you could be right. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we'll kind of see. I feel like we'll get a good chance to kind of see how they structure their bullpen early on to get a sense of, hey, if Brad Hand needs a day off, who's the one coming in to close?
Last point on this. Yes, he could be the guy, but he was given a chance last year and he kind of failed. There was a couple games in particular where he had massive blowups against the Orioles, like walk-off big old home runs, the 4 or 5 earned runs. No good. Not good. I think I might have made a mistake on this Hudson pick.
It's all good. We're all learning together. This is the best part of this.
Nope. I'll never be the same. Everything's over.
So, Doc, just last little point here, and then just so Govier can comment on these last 3 picks. Brantley, Bassett, and Schwarber, you were agonizing over the last 2, especially, I know. So just how come you went the way you did on those? Let Govier give his thoughts, and then we can move on to Cheesecake's team.
Yeah, Brantley's consistent batting average, hitting in a good Houston lineup. I was actually thrilled that he made it back to me. Bassett, so Bubba picked Framber Valdez, and I was looking at the board, and I said he is going to take a starting pitcher because he needs to replace that. And I didn't think he would make it on the way back. And it was between Schwarber and Max Kepler, but I just like that power upside with Schwarber. And I think he's finally in a good lineup. Maybe he just needed a little bit of a change of scenery. I mean, he's legit 30 home run power, and that's probably Kepler's career year.
Govier, do you like the last 3 he went here?
Well, I don't want to like rain on anyone's parade.
Nah, do it.
Take him down.
I don't know. I don't like it.
What? Tell me. Explain.
No, that's it. I'm done.
All right. Well, you know what?
No, I'm kidding. Doc, I'm joking. Look, you have a nice solid base here, and some of the players you chose, I dig it. I really don't have a problem with it. I can't look at a player and be like, well, maybe you shouldn't have done that. The police act hype, whatever, there's some issues there, but I'll let that slide. But towards the end, Schwarber is the one that I'm most concerned about because there's no DH, and I'm a little paranoid about that. That would be my biggest beef. I actually love Chris Bassett, so I'm totally down with Chris Bassett all day long. Schwarber is my biggest concern there. Brantley's reliable. Darno's underrated as a catcher. Great call.
I thought in a 2-catcher league, you have to get a top tier one.
Yeah, this is a classic debate among like the pros and the experts and the people getting into the business here, man. I kind of think with a 2-catcher, I would tend to agree with what you're saying, Doc. Like that's why I got a Gary Sanchez where I did. It was still not too early though. I got him in 13th, 12th round somewhere. That's a good time to strike on a guy like that. I think that's wise. And d'Arnaud is great value. He will cash in that lineup. He might have a career year even. We'll see. But overall, you're right. I don't have any problem with all these guys. Brantley's as solid a floor as you can get. And Simeon's going to score 100 runs this year, hitting second in that lineup. It's going to be because he's got the 1-year deal. So he wants to get another contract. I think he's very motivated. He'll be much better than he was in 2020. Goldschmidt's the only guy where I'm like, I don't know what to make of him.
Did you think about going with Dylan Carlson over Kyle Schwarber?
No, because I already have 3 Cardinals on my team.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was tempting to look at Dylan Carlson, but I feel like as a Nats fan, I had to take one hometown guy.
Well, that hometown bias, will that be your downfall? That's
another guy who signed a 1-year deal, so maybe he will, he'll cash in.
All right, well, let's move on to the second to last team. Let's move on to Cheesecake's team. And I just asked Cheesecake that we can keep this show and moving a little bit. So I need your top shape efficient analysis. Okay. I don't have Hank Hill. I don't have Hank Hill to be able to tell you to stop talking this time. So
in the fall of the year 2021, Cheesecake decided to enter the TGFBI draft. I started off. I had the idea.
What team number are you first?
I'm 14. I'm 14. Okay. It's interesting. I didn't realize the team 15 in your draft, Doc, has been he and I have been DMing the whole draft because he went Darvish Bauer just like I did. I didn't realize he was in your draft. He's like, hey, I did that same thing. So we've been chatting about picks the whole time.
You guys talking smack about me?
No, I didn't know it was you. You were in the same league as him. I had no idea. So I went with Darvish and Bauer. I passed on Giolito because I wanted to go National League pitchers with the DH. I think not going to be in the National League. I think when you look at the NL West, besides San Diego and Los Angeles, you have 3 teams that are struggling to be mediocre on offense, and so especially Colorado away from Colorado. So I thought get the lead dog or the workhorse for the 2 NL West teams. That's a good start off. They're going to have good ratios, going to have good Ks, and I'm hoping we could spike 15, 16 to 20 wins from both of them as well. So I really went in with the idea of going pocket aces from that 14 slot, and I'm glad I got these 2.
I just noticed, Cheesecake, the 15th team in your draft went 3 Dodgers to start. You went Bellinger, Bueller, and Seager. So that's very interesting. I'm also interesting to see that Bueller went ahead of Bauer, Giolito, Castillo, Nola. I think that's very different from how a lot of people are viewing those guys. I want to go to you first, Doc. In Cheesecake's position, do you like the pocket aces he went with?
So I am not as big on Yu Darvish as others. I know he had a good year last year. I'm not as big on him. I'm just not a Yu Darvish guy. I do love Trevor Bauer at that position. And I like at 14 that you're going pocket aces because I think it puts emphasis on other people to get a pitcher on either the way back in the second or into the third before your pick. And then I think you allow some good hitters to fall, and we see that he had Bogarts and Whit Merrifield, so he's able to secure his middle infield while still getting 2 elite pitchers, and then having the outfield, the first baseman, the corner infield, those good players fall to him.
Yeah, and I agree. So let's jump into the middle here. We have Xander Bogaerts, I think good value for him. Whit Merrifield in round 4, Edwin Diaz in round 5. You're getting your first closer, and then you take a couple more hitters. You get Conforto and Altuve. So I want to have Deary break this part down, just in the middle part right here. Just what he thinks of how you went, and then you can kind of defend Cheesecake how you feel that why you made the picks you did.
Sure.
I absolutely love Bogarts. He's someone I would have targeted if I didn't go Trevor Story in the first round. I think he's an absolute beast. He's going to bat 300. He'll give you a handful of stolen bases. I think he's an absolute beast. He's just now hitting the prime of his career. Whit Merrifield, dependable guy. He's going to give you stolen bases, going to hit for good average. Here's what I want to ask you, Doc. I love Michael Conforto, absolutely. But right before that, in the round before, you take Edwin Diaz, who I love Edwin Diaz. What's your thought when it comes to closers in an NFBC TGFBI like this? Do you want to go ahead and grab that top closer right away? I haven't looked at the rest of your draft. You have 2 closers already. But looking at your first 6 rounds, you got 3 pitchers, and one of them is a closer. And then you got Pablo Lopez down there in the 8th round. So give me a little more about why Diaz went there, and then what was your strategy after that?
This is Cheesecake's team, not mine, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
No, I thought that I had the thought that I wanted to get one of 5 closers to start off. I wanted to get either Hader, Hendricks, Diaz, Iglesias, or Rosenthal. And Diaz I like because I think he's going to have either the most or second most strikeouts out of those. And I think he's going to be the closer all season. So I wanted to get someone like Diaz, who I think is going to be a high strikeout closer, so that I can possibly chase ratios a little bit more with my later picks. And I'm not, I just think it's going to help me a little bit in that way. But I definitely wanted to get a closer so that I didn't feel like I had to scramble for guys who I wasn't too confident in rounds later. Now, as you'll see, he's my only closer still. So I will be taking some specs on some other guys, but I wanted to make sure I had one of the top closers so that I wasn't going to be scrambling for all my saves. I wanted to make sure I attacked it early.
Yeah. But, and then you come back with Altuve. Is there concern with Altuve? He obviously doesn't run anymore. Is the power gone? Is the garbage can banging going to affect him? I mean, you got 2 second basemen there. I mean, so you've locked up, a little bit of the middle infield there. Give me a little bit more about Altuve.
I like Altuve. I think Altuve had a rough 60-game stretch. He turned it on in the playoffs and was hitting very well in the playoffs. I think he'll come back and have a solid Altuve-ish season. I'm not expecting him to get a ton of stolen bases, but I'm hoping for double-digit stolen bases out of Altuve, because I'm doing that sort of a death by 1,000 paper cuts, a stolen base approach. I mean, I got Merrifield, yes, but I'm hoping to get around 10 stolen bases from Bogarts, around 10 from Altuve. Conforto's 6 to 8. I'm trying to get guys who are not nothings on the base path. And to me, Altuve, having fallen as far as he did, I thought it was, I was targeting him in this draft. So I wanted to get him, and I got Merrifield. I was like, I wasn't sure if I wanted Merrifield because I knew I was going to target Altuve. But then I thought, well, if it comes down to it, I can move Merrifield to the outfield. I could put him at middle, my MI spot, or one of them at my MI spot, and then just be solid across the MI, which is a tough spot. A lot of people are going with, picks in the late 250s, early 300s at their MI, and I have, a really strong player there. So I thought that would be an advantage for my team.
Ask Yancey how he feels about Altuve. Last night he said Altuve will be undraftable next year. That was insane. That was his insane fantasy take. Yancey, I know you're listening. I know you don't really believe that. You got put in a corner on that one.
I don't believe that.
I'm here for bold takes, though.
What's interesting though is, like, I did an article about second baseman, and I was looking into Altuve, and his stats actually, if you count the postseason and you add it on, like he had the biggest turnaround of any player in the major leagues. So if you had kind of let the season play out, he might be going a lot earlier than he is now. You might be banking on that you're getting him at probably the lowest cost he'll ever be. So there's that flip side of the coin too.
Bang the trash can slowly.
I love it. So let Govier then. I want you to kind of dissect what we see here. So we talked about a little bit in the kind of this middle area here. So we're kind of going down a little bit more. He actually is pretty far in his draft.
Wow.
So
he's right there with me in the 14th round.
That's right. So we have Yasmani Grandal, Robles, Ian Happ. We have Justin Turner, Jordan Montgomery, Eduardo Rodriguez. How are you feeling about this latter half here?
Oh, doctor. Well, let me tell you something. Wait, we got a doc on the show. That's cool. Old doctor. You guys never call him doctor? Do we never call him doctor?
Well, there's Mr. Doctor. So that's why he's just Doc.
That's right, Mr. Doctor, part of our Rotofanatic family. Speaking of our Rotofanatic family, we have projections, and I should have been pushing them on this show every time you went to me.
No free ads. No free ads.
Go ahead.
Oh,
give it
no
the
free
ads.
ads? Oh,
No,
I wasn't.
Crosby Spencer's a great dude. Talk about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to compete with Fantrax. I was just trying to be good to Crosby because he's a good person.
No,
But anyways,
go
check it
ahead.
out.
Actually promote. He does do good stuff. He needs to be promoted.
Yeah, he spent like many months on it, and he did a lot of hard work. So Grandal-wise, Grandal in a Roto League, I have less interest in. I just, OBP, you know me. I'm down. Let's party. But I'm less interested in him. But where you got him, I'm not that upset about it. That's nice value. You must have been happy with that, Art. Were you very pleased?
Yeah, I was targeting Grandal actually. He's never been bad. He every season he's one of the top 10 catchers because of his plate appearances and his power. So I'm hoping he spikes a little bit better batting average, but I feel like his power and his playing time is going to carry his value.
Well, Crosby has him for 23 bombs, but a 228 average. 228 average, not great.
That's not
Catchers
great.
will hurt you a lot, though. They will. Crosby's very aggressive with how he does things, too. I think it's pretty fascinating. But overall, looking at your draft board, looking at these guys, you got my guy Pablo Lopez, so I'm already down with that, as you know. Victor Robles, I would have loved to have had, but I missed the boat. I really think Victor Robles could do 25-25 this year. No problem. I really do. But the whole Schwarbino thing comes into play, too, with playing time. That's my only concern. Justin Turner, you know what you're going to get. He'll probably only play like 400 plate appearances, 450 at most. But what you get out of him when he plays will be pretty elite. He still stings the hell out of the ball, and he plays on a great lineup in the National League. So I think my only questions are this Jordan Montgomery, who Vlad, by the way, another Vlad shout out, Vlad Sedler, drafted Jordan Montgomery last night in a 12-team OC we did. So that's good company. You're in good company. And I wonder why he did that, because I don't really want any of the Yankee starters, any of them really. But Eduardo Rodriguez is the great pull here. This is a great call because he's going to be okay. And if he's okay, this guy can strike people out. He can eat innings. There's nothing he can't do, really. He really can't. So as long as that heart is healthy and he feels like, a natural woman, then he's going to be good to go.
Your boy, another Roto Fanatic guy, Carm Majorana's pick 1 in this. He's getting a lot of value falling to him in my drafts.
He's got my guy Dylan Bundy, I see, but he also has Mendy's guy or Doc's guy Schwarber. So
yeah,
I'm missing up. Do we even do Mendy's draft yet? What day is this? Where are we? I don't know what's happening anymore.
Gotta save the most interesting one for last. It's pretty.
Of course,
it's the slowest draft. That's why.
Yeah, it's the easiest one to die for. It is. We're only in round 10. It's nuts.
Oh my God. I thought we were the slowest. We're 2 rounds ahead of you. This is amazing.
It's funny because in our group chat, David's like, my draft is so slow. And we're like, oh, we just had 7 picks go. There's been 2.
I don't want to
Mandy, how long did it take to get through 2 rounds? Because for my draft, it took a full day to get through 2 rounds.
Well, I love Paul Sporer. Paul Sporer is a beloved guest of this show, and I love him to death. But he was number 1 overall pick, and he didn't draft for the first 2 hours.
Oh, shout out.
Yeah, so, but Paul, we love you. But yeah, we were all kind of like staring at the clock, like, okay, Paul, the number 1 pick.
He was watching old episodes of Belvedere because he loved it.
But there's some people that have just been taking their sweet time, which is good at sometimes, but like other times I'm like, come on, like have your queue ready to go. Let's keep this moving because we're in the middle of round 10. We're not even like almost done with round 10. So.
Well, hey, the game is to be sold, not to be told. Remember that. Snoop Dogg said that a long time ago.
So I guess why don't we just move to that draft now, since we're talking about it.
I like Cheesecake's draft, by the way. I do. I'm pretty, except the Darvish pick. Otherwise, I love it.
Thank you. We're
Cheesecake
trying to do this overall, right? We got to go for the overall.
I think it's again, it's like it is interesting to debate. Like if you like the slow drafts, you want to be able to have more time for to thinking and all that. Like
I take my time. Hell yeah. I tell people that, take your sweet ass time. Screw these elitist people. Hey, hurry up. I got things to do so I can wait for the season to start. What? Come on.
Oh my gosh, I can't. I'm going to be doing something where I can't look at my phone. I have it on me all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So, all right. So the last draft, I'll break down mine a little bit. I'll let you guys judge it. I was the 14th slot as well. And I started out with pocket aces. If I'm in the back end, I always try to go pocket aces. I went Giolito and Bauer as my first two. So Govier, why don't we just go back to you, because you started at the end. So how do you feel about at the 14th spot, the pocket aces strategy? And then do you like the two I took, or would you have gone a different route?
Well, I play the turn. This is basically right where I'm at most of the time. Giolito, my guy, so done deal. I don't need to comment on that further. Bauer, I actually took him for the first time in that OC I did last night, because sometimes you just got to take a chance that you don't know everything. Bauer is a good pitcher, but I just don't know if he's going to be the super extra innings eater that everyone's making him out to be. So I got no problem with that. That's fine. I mean, you want to take Bichette that early? I don't want to take Bichette that early. It happened right before you. No thanks on the turn. The guy took Bellinger, Bichette. The guys that went after Bryce Harper, Machado, Lindor, nope, I don't really want those guys. Nola, maybe. I think it's a good call. I got no problem with that. There wasn't a hitter right there that I would have taken, because the elite hitters of like the first sector of the draft are all gone. So you're either going pitcher again, which you did, and that's the right call.
Yeah, and then it kind of got interesting, because I assumed once the pocket aces go for the first time, that's when people start trying to nab their first or their second pitcher. There are people like, all right, I got to get my ace before they're all gone. So I assumed I was going to get a pretty good hitter coming back to me. Then you see Harper, Machado, Francisco Lindor, a couple aces. Kyle Tucker went in the middle of the second round. That was who I was going to try to target around where I was picking. I was shocked he went there. A couple more pitchers. Then we went Alberto Mondesi and Bogarts in the second round. Again, I hadn't seen Bogarts go that high either. Then Tim Anderson and Corey Seager, and then just a run of hitters, just all going from Eloy, DJ. I wanted Whit Merrifield. He didn't fall. I wanted Ozzie Albies. He didn't fall. Literally, it was 5 straight picks right here, all guys I was looking to get. I wasn't going to draft Real Muto, but he got taken there anyway. And then when it came back to me at Randy Arozarena, I said, look, I'm already losing out on a bunch of stolen bases with these guys. Whit Merrifield, Luis Robert, Starling Marte, those are all guys I was going to try to get some steals here. And I was like, look, who's a guy that has a great bit of upside that also can give me some stolen bases? And again, one of the people I respect, Dave McDonald, I know he's really high on Arozarena and Jake Houseler, the whole crew there. And yeah. I was like, you know what? This is the go big or go home. So I went Arozarena, and then I went Maeda, because Maeda fell into the 4th round. He fell right into my lap. So I went 3 pitchers in my first 4 picks. So Deary, what do you think of where I was at, how the board was read, and do you think I made the right calls?
I'm fine with the pocket aces. When you draft 14 or 15, I think pocket aces make sense. As I said earlier, I love Lucas Giolito. He's my number 4 on the board, and you know what you're going to get from Bauer. I think he's going to be just fine. He's going to give you a ton of wins. We'll see what happens with that Dodgers bullpen. The interesting pick here is a Rosarena, a Rosagod. I mean, right before that, Eloy Jimenez goes, Robert goes, and Marte goes. And then it comes back to you. Like, those are the guys that I'm targeting there in round 3. I took Robert there at my 10th pick. And then it's a Rosarena. I mean, I go somewhere safe there, but I'm not drafting George Springer there. I would probably go Osuna, but like to your point that you made with a Rosarena, you're going to get some stolen bases from him. So it may be a little early, so I'm not super high on it, but I mean, you're going bigger, you're going home, right? I mean, your first batter is Randy Rosarena. I love it. Hey, go wild, go bonkers crazy.
Well, let me jump in and say something real quick here. First off, Zach Nelson in the house. What up, Zach? Good to see you. But Bregman goes at pick 55. Bregman. You could have had Alex Bregman. He went to the 55th pick in this draft. That's bizarro to me. That's too nutty. I would have rather taken Bregman as the more secure pick, personally.
So when David told us he did that, we're like, that's spicy. Like, it could be really good or it could backfire. That's probably going to be your most critical pick where people are going to judge you on. So David knew what he was getting into when he took good old Randy.
Exactly.
Oh, he can handle it. Sure, he can handle it.
You know, again, Mike, like we're like, hey, if you're going to try to win the overall, you got to do some things that you got to zig when people are zagging. So like, I was like, all right, I know for a fact that a Rosarena is not coming back to me. And I like the upside. I think again, there's a chance a 5 category player at this spot. I was like, I'll take it. And then, sure enough, I was assuming that Maeda again was going to get taken, but Jacob Dunn, who's in the 15th spot, went 6 straight hitters. So he kind of went a different direction. And so I was like, all right, Maeda in the 4th round is a gift. So I have to take Maeda. And then sure enough, it was kind of mixed along the way. You go around here, and it came back to me for these next few picks. And I knew at the end here, I needed to get a closer. And I was looking to try to get a top one, but right after I picked, that's when the closer run started. Hader, Hendricks, Chapman, Diaz, all went basically within a round of each other. So I was like, all right, I got to make sure I get one of the top, like Art mentioned, 5-6 guys that have guaranteed jobs. So that's why I took Iglesias. And it came down to me between Suarez and Yoan Moncada. And that's where I was debating on it for a long time. And I said, look, I saw that there's still some stuff in spring training. He's struggling with a couple things, some health-wise. You don't know. He's very much a wild card. He has a huge upside to him. But I was like, since I did that with Arozarena, I was like, I want to get the guaranteed power here. And that's why I went Suarez, who in a full season is always going to be in the league leaders in home runs. Secure some early power. He's going to hit a decent batting average. He's going to be in the middle of the Reds lineup. So I'm curious, Doc.
So call Suarez. That's what it is.
So yeah. let me jump in here. Here's what I love. I love Maeda. You have 3 starting pitchers. You're set on starting pitching for a long time. I'm not huge on Raisel Iglesias, but I also think he's gonna save 30 games for you. His ERA is going to be shitty, but it's not going to matter because you have those top tier starters that are going to help with that ERA. I would have taken Moncada over Suarez. Sure, Suarez has 40 home run potential, but I think, like Mike said earlier, Moncada has a chance to bat 300. Mm-hmm. He may be bringing back stolen bases. He's already stolen a couple bases already in spring training, and he's in a killer lineup. But Suarez is fine. He's going to give you the 40 home runs. But I think Moncada maybe have been a better option there. Throw it on to Doc like you were doing.
No, I mean, that's fair. Again, that's why I debated over it for so long. And I don't know if you guys did this. I went into Smada's thing he has on Twitter, and I was looking at all the other draft boards of the difference between them. I'm like, hey, is Moncada going earlier than Suarez in every draft? Because I just want to see what other people are doing too, just to kind of gather a bunch of just information to kind of judge, hey, am I making again, I'm confident in my process, but I like to see where other people are going to, just to kind of feel like if I'm jumping too early on a guy, if I'm completely off for how I'm valuing somebody. And I saw probably about 3/4 of the drafts went Suarez first. And that's I was like, okay, I feel like just getting a consensus bit of data there. That's why I went the Suarez route over Moncada, just for that stability again with the Rosarena. So, but I completely get it. And I was debating on it for a while. So
Dave, you're letting other people dictate your feelings? Come on, man.
Hey, I mean, you know what? This is an honesty thing. So
Cheesecake and Doc go bold, and then you're doing this. But you did go bold with the Rosarena, so I give you credit for that one.
How about that? It's the call Juarez. That's what it is. No, it's call Suarez.
I'm so glad you said that. Mel Allen right there. How about that?
How about it?
This week in baseball. Oh my God.
Twib notes. Get your twib notes out, guys.
Twib notes.
So luckily, since I'm only 10 rounds in, we can talk a little bit more about the pick, since I don't have like 4 more rounds to go through. So
you just missed out on Alcantara there. You could have had him in the 9th round. You passed.
And you know what? If I had known Govier draft him, I would have.
He doesn't need him. He's got his top 3.
I know. Yeah. I'm just being dumb. It's all dumb. Nothing matters. One day we'll all be dead. This will be pointless.
That's just fantasy. It's not even reality.
That's I know. What's the deal here?
It's a board game.
So then the last few picks here: JD Martinez, Marcus Semien, Dylan Moore, Michael Brantley.
Wow, man. Woo.
So
that's some
cheesecake.
Fascinating.
I'll let you go here first. You guys, again, were in the group chat. You know my process. I talked about why I went where I did. If this is where you're going, what would you have done differently?
Well, I think 60% of our drafts on the show today have Marcus Semien. So kudos to everyone for that. JD Martinez is, I think with the video back in his ability to study, he's going to be good again. I think, when you take away a tool that these guys have, they have processes, it's really tough. It's really tough to just take away the tool that someone is relying on and have them produce. So now he's going to get the iPad in the dugout to get his video in between at bats. I think JD Martinez is going to be that 330 home run guy again. And the more Brantley is, that's the pairing. You got this speed, you got the power, and you got the batting average. When you combine the two of them, that's a nice pairing there at that turn. You're getting your steals that you needed at that point, and you're getting some cushion with the batting average from Brantley.
Yeah, again, it's hard because this draft did not go how I expected it. So I was kind of, again, I wasn't expecting to take 3 of my first 4 pitchers. Arozarena is my first hitter, and then again, just luckily around this point in the draft, it was the first actual run of pitchers because there hadn't been a run. There had been 3 taken here, then nobody. Then there had been 5 in that latter half here. But this was the first actual run where I'd been like, okay, now some hitters are going to start falling to me because people now have to get their pitching that they've been kind of pushing off to the side. So luckily that allowed some of these guys to slip to me. But it is, besides the Arozarena, Suarez, Deary, Govier, Doc, if you guys want to chime in, is there any way you would have gone different here?
I don't like Dylan Moore.
Oh boy.
You are really just banking on stolen base upside with him. And that means that he gets on base and that he's going to be successful doing it. He's not even batting leadoff. I think they have JP Crawford hitting leadoff. So if you were looking for speed, I would have gone Robles, or I think since you took that gamble on Arozarena, that you didn't need to chase that category that early. I like taking proven players, and I think that there were a lot more on the board. I might have even taken Brantley before I took Dylan Moore, even though you got him on the turn back.
Dylan! Yeah, Predator. It's classic. You got to play the Predator drop for Dylan, but I'll tell you, Semien was on the board when I took Correa in my draft, and I wonder if I'll come back to regret that. I was so torn. Correa versus Semien. Semien versus Correa. Correa versus Semien. Einhorn or Finkel. Finkel and Einhorn. I could not decide, man. It took a long time for me to make that pick, but in the end, I may regret it. My gut told me to take Semien, but I took Correa with the hope that he could be, his finest effort could be more elite than Semien's. That's what I kind of banked on. And Semien's a little bit more of an OBP guy, only slightly, but it's a little bit more. I think that over the profile, Correa has shown that he can hit for an average. It's been a while, I know. It's been a while. I get that, but that was the deciding factor. But boy, it was so damn close. So I love it either way. Semien's a fantastic choice, and he's going to score 100 runs in that lineup. Like I said, I already said that once. He'll also probably hit 25-plus home runs, and who knows? It could be a banner year for him.
All right. Well, I think we did a stellar job, gentlemen, in breaking down everybody's teams.
Yay!
And I think we all got solid squads, and
we're all going to win.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll find out in about 40 weeks.
Oh, God, it's such a long season. I got to play daily fantasy.
Dude,
Mike, we got like 120 more pods to do before the end of the season, so come on. Get ready.
That's the low number, too.
It is on the low end. You're right, Doc. But, this is why we do it, man. Drafting, talking drafts. I really enjoy talking about other people's drafts. I don't have to talk about my own. I dig it.
I agree.
All right. Well, now I have my soundboard back, and I can start playing music again. Play sounds. I felt naked. I can have them back.
Put your clothes on, man. Jeez.
So now why don't we dive into our question of the week?
Yay!
Oh, yeah. You guys like the Take On Me? Take On Me, that's a classic, right?
I danced at it at my wedding. You were probably there too, Mike.
I was at the wedding. It was in New York. We talked about this.
I can't believe we weren't invited, Deary. Like, you couldn't look into the future and realize that we would be doing podcasts together, man. That's so insensitive.
I think we had 65 people there. It was 2.5 years ago. Next wedding, when we redo our vows or whatever. I mean, because we're not getting divorced. But yeah, I'll invite everybody in the fantasy industry, and we'll just sit in the corner and talk about fantasy baseball.
Oh, yeah.
I drove from Maryland. It was a beautiful drive up the beautiful river from Maryland. I can't remember the name of that damn river.
Potomac?
No, that's the one that goes up to New York. Shoot. Oh, well. It was a beautiful drive. So.
The Delaware River.
The Susquehanna. It just popped in my head.
Yeah.
Susquehanna. Gorgeous. Beautiful.
Well, we're going to be announcing our new sponsor coming next week. So we don't have it sponsored by somebody today, but stay tuned because we also are launching our website this Saturday. So you guys will be able to see our faces on our website. You'll be able to see our articles, see our YouTube videos, everything in one place where we like it. So make sure
TriplePlay.com?
TriplePlayFantasy.com. Triple Play Fantasy is taken everywhere we try to look. So they won't sell it to us. But it's always on social media too, so it ties in pretty well. But
I love it, man. I'm very excited for you guys.
Just honest feedback from you guys. Our friends need to be honest with us. If the site sucks, you gotta tell us so we can fire the guy who built it.
I'll be nice. Mike will tell you straight up.
So our question of the week: what is the biggest faux pas a fan can commit at a baseball game? And I hope I said that right because I'm not very good with making words sound good. So
beautiful.
Govier, why don't you start us off here? What is that faux pas that fans should not be doing when they're at the ballpark?
Rooting for the opposite team, the road team. Can't do it.
Ooh.
Not cool. Don't do it. You will get batteries thrown at you.
So
Everybody for their team.
So wait. So if you guys were to travel to like Milwaukee and the Tigers are playing the Brewers, would you keep your fandom like hidden?
No. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous because there's so many people that go to like road parks, and it's actually more than any other sport. Baseball welcomes like people to, hey, come check out these fields because they're the most unique. You know, football fields, basketball arenas, hockey arenas, they're not as unique. Baseball fields are unique. So that's a ridiculous faux pas. I take that back. The true faux pas, I would say, is being a loudmouth who won't shut up. That's a big faux pas. Don't do that.
Y'all can keep going. I have mine at the end, and it's the best one.
Is it really? Well, I also like what was chimed in here too. Jerseys of the teams not playing was one.
Great call. Great call, Zach.
I love that one. Deary, where are you going with this one?
So I got two real quick. The first is leaving a game early, especially if you're an adult. There's no reason to leave a game early. And the second one is if you're going to bring your kid to a game and they're 7, 8 years old, don't let them just sit on their tablet or their phone the whole game. Sit there and enjoy the time with your child watching the game. When we were young, there was no phones or tablets to play on when you're at a game. You're there and you're watching what's going on at the game. If the kid gets bored at the game, get up and walk around. At Comerica, we have like a carousel. So don't leave a game early because you may miss something incredible. In 1987, I left a game early with my dad, and I remember my two older brothers stayed there with my uncle, and Kirk Gibson hit a home run, and my brother caught it, and we were not there, and we would have been able to be right there for the amazing thing of catching a Gibby home run. And the second one, spending time on your phone and bringing your kid to the game who isn't ready to actually be prepared to watch a game. It was one of my favorite things that ever happened as a kid was going to a game and actually watching the game. And now I go to games and I see these kids there and they're just on their phones and tablets the whole time. It's like, come on, you wasted money buying a ticket for your kid. Come on, teach him the American pastime, enjoy the game, walk around the park if you get bored. Come on.
Boomer!
Old man, look at my life.
I was waiting for the "I'll get off my lawn" sound drop. I don't have one.
Yeah,
but no, I agree, 100%. Those are some things I hate seeing too. Cheesecake, let's go to you next. What's one is your pick?
I could talk about reaching out and trying to catch a ball when a fielder's trying to make a play on it, and my Cubs hat would show why I made that call. But I will say this: Steve Bartman was fan interference, and the umpire didn't call that. I think that should be said. It was fan interference. So I'm going to move off of that one and talk about drinking too much and ruining the experience for your fellow fans. To me, like I don't, like you said, I don't want someone who is loud and boisterous and hitting on other people's women and I mean, things you see at a ball game, what have you. I think the worst thing you could do is ruin someone else's experience at a game by being loud and obnoxious. And then of course, I'll just Steve Bartman, take your headphones off so you can pay attention to the game.
Oh my God. You guys won a World Series. Who cares?
I don't know.
That's right.
I think Moises Alou.
I didn't realize there were so many boomers on this show.
He's not catching that ball.
Moises Alou his reaction was the worst part of it, because it made the whole team go just lose it. I think Bartman got a real bad shake out of it, honestly.
Tough times.
But, I mean, I can't even imagine the Cubs fans' depression during that time. But again, at least made up for it. So
yeah.
Anyway,
What happened in Game 7?
That's true.
People
So
always forget that.
I'm going to tie in a little bit to what you said, Cheesecake. Mine is when you're sitting down trying to watch the game and the person in front of you doesn't sit down.
That's good.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
I understand getting excited and wanting to stand up when something exciting happens, but the ones that don't sit down, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, are you that oblivious that there's people behind you? Like, I think that literally makes me the most mad at anything I see at a ballpark, where I'm like, especially if you have someone behind that person that literally can't stand up or is just struggling to move. And I'm like, what, how insensitive a human being can you be? Like, what scum of the earth can just sit there and stand an entire time, burn all those calories, and just be there?
Of course, you have to tie it into that, you health freak.
Yeah, but anyway.
Hey,
Okay,
you can't all
Ma-
squat 500 pounds like
Mandy,
that.
I got to ask you this though: what if it's a playoff game and it's a high pressure situation, and this guy's trying to get everybody else to stand up?
Okay, so that's a good counter. I think if it's a playoff game or something that's super intense, where you're waiting on every pitch, I can see that a little bit more. But if it's game 82 of 162, like sit your ass down. Like let's go. Like it's ridiculous. But no, that's a good counter. That's a good point. All right, Doc, what's your special one that you said you wanted to go last for?
Shout out Danny Vietti for tweeting this the other day. It is when you take a home run or a foul ball away from a kid that wants it.
Oh, yeah.
Mic drop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I mean,
You are the biggest loser in the land if you're 35 years old and you're walking home with a ball that you caught at a game. What are you going to do with that? Give it to the
Okay,
kid.
so I don't have a problem if you catch it, but if there's a kid that wants it, or if there's a kid that's going for it, even if you catch it, you're obligated to give it to him. I'm not saying you have to go, you catch it, and you're like, oh, let me find the nearest kid. But if you know that kid is making an attempt, it means way more to him than it does to you.
I would even go further and just say if they're near you in that section, like you don't have to actively look for them, but if there's a kid sitting like 2 rows in front of you that you see like would want it, then you just go give it to them, even if you have to like go a little bit out of your way to go get it to them. But it'll be cool. Nice.
It's like the guy that's pushing the kids out of the way on like autograph day, or like you're out in right field and you're trying to get Kyle Schwarber's autograph as a kid, and you're like a 35-year-old dude and you're pushing kids around just so you can get an autograph.
Loser.
Why don't we get to the last part of the show, and that's our game of the week.
Oh my gosh. Did you really put that in again?
Yeah, I like to see if people know where that's from.
What's that from?
I didn't hear enough of it.
I'm gonna put it in the chat just so
I know the sound, but it's gonna take a while.
That's great.
Yeah, we're not.
Great.
Wait.
That's pretty good.
Well, no one wants to sit here and listen to me
Can't
try to
say
figure
it
out
now,
the answers.
Mike.
You can look in the chat. And
I didn't look at the chat yet. I haven't looked. I'm not giving up on this.
Mike, we'll talk about it on our show tomorrow with Blair.
I'm going to think about this rest of the show, but let's continue the show. Nobody
right.
tell me, because I'm going to get this.
I'll be impressed if you do. So Cheesecake, you're hosting the show this week.
Mm-hmm.
Finish us out with a good, well-fun, rounded game here. So let's get it started.
Yes, sir, gentlemen. This game is based upon players at the same position with similar ADPs. Now, I don't know if you know that you can create auction values very simply on Fangraphs using projections. So I did that, and I decided the game today is you guys are gonna guess who you think has the higher actual auction value, and that's based upon the 5 roto categories and giving more money for better statistics, obviously. So for example, we'll just get going, and you guys, I think, will pick it up pretty easily. You guys just pick who you think is going to have the better auction value, and I'll tell you their ADP and the 2 players that we're comparing. And so each person's going to get a chance to guess on each matchup, and I have a tiebreaker question if there's a tie at the end. Sound good?
Sounds good.
So, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so the order of guessing is going to start with Deary, Mendy, Govier, and then Eric, Doc, and then it's going to switch. Mendy's going to go first, Govier, Eric, and then Deary. Price is Right style answering. So the first pair is DH Nelson Cruz and DH JD Martinez. Now, the ADPs I got were off of the Fangraph site. I don't know where they got them from, but on the Fangraph site, the projections, Cruz is going number 92 and Martinez is going 94. So, Deary, who do you think from the projections has the higher auction value from the auction calculator based upon BADX projections?
Boy, this is really, really tough. I'm going to go JD Martinez.
Mendy.
JD Martinez and I'm sorry, what was the other one?
Nelson Cruz.
Nelson Cruz.
Michael.
I'm still thinking about that song, that quick.
You still haven't looked at the chat?
No. But
You
I'm
want to play
gonna,
it again? You want to play it again for you?
yeah, one more time.
Let me find it. Here we go.
Yeah.
Damn it! I know what it is.
Not enough.
No, I know that.
Can we give you a hint? Can we give you a hint?
Okay, I'll take a hint. Yes.
It's not appropriate.
Okay, it's not appropriate. That's helpful. All right. The answer is Cruz, by the way.
Doc, what do you think?
So it's the one that is supposed to have the better year?
Yeah, the projections have him as having a better season.
I'm going to say JD Martinez. Nelson Cruz is just always slept on. Everybody thinks it's going to be the year that he tails off.
Projections actually have JD Martinez at a $24.60 value and Nelson Cruz at a $14.30 value. Martinez is the winner. Eric and Deary, you both get a point.
Woo!
I really thought I had that one. Damn it.
In the game.
Right.
The next one, this is going to be interesting. I'll give you the projections and see if you can figure out which one gets more. These are first baseman Eric Hosmer and Josh Bell going 151 and 152 on average.
Josh Bell got the ill communication.
Hosmer's batting at 5 cats are 257 with 24 home runs, 78 runs, 85 RBIs, and 5 stolen bases. Josh Bell is 256 with 28 home runs, 78 runs, 87 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. So their value is really close. So David, you go first. Who do you think is going to have the higher auction value?
I feel like Josh Bell, since he went to the Nationals, that for some reason that just is sticking out in my mind.
Michael. Do you go by Mike or Michael?
I go by Alice.
Alice?
Yeah. Hosmer.
Alice? Hosmer. Okay. Eric.
I'm going Josh Bell.
Deary.
I'll go with my Pollazzo podcast brethren. It is Hosmer.
Josh Bell is 690. Hosmer 650. Very close. Bell gets the win. We have Eric.
Damn it.
On top with
Come on.
End the game.
This game is rigged.
It's trash.
Let's jump down to catchers.
Boo.
Going 166 is Austin Nola, and going 171 is Sean Murphy. Govier, who do you think is projected to have the better season by auction value, Sean Murphy or Austin Nola?
I don't know where these auction values come from.
It's
Murphy
based upon a standard deviation figure.
It's a bunch of trash. Murphy, I'll say it's Murphy this time, but they're both very close in like ADP overall.
Yeah,
but
very
Murphy,
close. Very close. Eric.
I'm going to go Austin Nola.
Deary.
I'm going to go Nola as well.
David.
I think the Murphy injury gives it to me for Nola. I feel like that's why he's going to be higher.
Oh, man, y'all should have listened to Alice because it's Sean Murphy.
Wow.
Yay!
Yeah, he's on the board. So we got 3 people: Deary, David, and Govier with 1, Eric with 2.
End the game.
All right.
So this Murphy is worth 8. Nola is worth $6.40. This is an interesting one.
Does the winner get a Taco Bell gift card?
Yeah.
The
Winner gets a virtual handshake for me.
The
A
winner
job
gets
well
a
done.
chance at $1 million.
Look at those tatted guns, man. Damn. Woo.
I had to go sleeveless for Govier tonight.
Very
Change it up a
impressive.
little bit.
I didn't catch that earlier. I'm very turned
Govier,
on.
please do one episode with your shirt off just to show your tat.
That's Alex Chamberlain's thing. I don't want to steal his thunder.
It's
That's
true.
true.
It's true. So second baseman, Nick Madrigal and Jake Cronenworth are going 196 and 199 on average in drafts. I think Eric is going first in this one. Who is worth more money in auction value, Nick Madrigal or Jake Cronenworth?
I'm going to say Jake Cronenworth.
Deary,
I'm going to go Madrigal.
Mendy,
Madrigal.
Michael Govier.
Well, if I want to tie Doc, I got to go opposite him. So I'm going to go Madrigal.
And you made the right choice.
Yeah.
Nick Madrigal, they really are dinging Cronenworth's playing time. He's worth negative $5.30 in auction value, and Madrigal's worth $11.70. A big part of that is stolen bases. They have Madrigal going for 19 steals.
Yeah. And neither are
that's-
going to hit home runs.
Right? Yeah. Right. I think it's interesting. Like, I've heard a lot of people talk about how hard it is to build with Madrigal because he doesn't hit home runs, but those steals are really valuable. What did I just do here? I lost my document. There it is. We're back.
How many more do we have since we're all at a lock here?
Yeah, it's two each. We'll go 3 more rounds. I got 3 more rounds of outfielders, and then we have a tiebreaker, which I think is fun. Hopefully it comes to a tiebreaker.
All right, let's do it.
Going pick 136 and 138, Will Myers and Mike Yastrzemski. Who, starting with Deary, who is going to be worth more in auction value between
I'm going to go
those
Will
two?
Myers. Because I think they're going Yastrzemski. So I'm going Will Myers.
Mandy,
I'm gonna go Will Myers.
Mike Will Myers,
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers.
and Alice.
Oh, thank you.
You're lovely, Alice.
Yeah, I'm going to go with old Yaz.
Mr. Mendelson, Eric.
I'm going Will Myers because it was just the opposite player of a Padre. I feel like he wouldn't ding 2 Padres in a row.
Well, Will Myers is worth more, $6.90 to Mike Yastrzemski's $4.30. They're giving Myers 13 steals projection on the season. So that's
Stupid.
That's a lot. Yeah. This is a fun one. Ramon Laureano and Ryan Mountcastle going 146 and 149 respectively. I'm going to give you their stats so that it gives you a little bit more confusing guess here. David, you're going to go first. The stats for Ramon Laureano: 245 with 22 home runs, 75 and 75 on runs and RBIs with 11 steals. Ryan Mountcastle, 273 with 23 home runs, 64 runs, 74 RBIs, and 3 steals. Who is worth more cheddar?
The guy that wants to fight an entire team, Ramon Laureano.
Okay. Mr. Govier.
My microphone smells.
Sound quality is fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, it's a pleasure to have you aboard here on the Triple Play Podcast.
Yeah.
How about that?
I'm going to say I'm trying to find the edge in this game, and I thought I found it. So if this is right, then I will have found it. Laureano.
Eric Mendelson.
I'm going Ryan Mountcastle.
Mountcastle has a taste that people won't live without. You guys got White? We didn't have White Castle in Maryland. I never saw one.
There's
No.
not many around.
No,
It's a
there were
West
some in
Coast.
Chicago where I grew up.
It's
Are
Are,
garbage.
are they Michigan too?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
big
terrible.
time.
I have one right around the corner. I've never been there since I've lived here.
Get those sliders. All right, Deary. You are on the clock.
Okay, so Mendy and Mike went Laureano.
Uh-huh.
Doc went Mountcastle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go Mountcastle as well.
It's Ramon Laureano worth $5.
I broke the code.
$5.90. Mountcastle $5.80.
Oh, Jesus, so close.
So close. But now we have this is a damn tragedy. David Mendelson in first place with 4 and everyone else with 3.
Wow.
Take it home, baby.
Okay, so we're going one more round, and I want to make it as hard as possible. We're going back to a Baltimore outfielder, Austin Hayes and Raimel Tapia. We have the chance to draft these guys still, so that's fun. In our TGFBI, Hayes is going 245, Tapia 250. I'm going to give you the stats here because it's a fun one. Austin Hayes 253 with 22 bombs, 63 runs, and 65 RBIs with 10 steals. That's a pretty nice line. Raimel Tapia 276 though. 10 home runs, 64 runs, 56 RBIs, but 14 stolen bases. Who went first last time? David?
I did, yeah.
So we have Ask Alice first. Who do you have? Hayes, Raimel Tapia.
Who hates Hayes? Is that Doc? He hates Hayes?
I do.
Oh, you hate Hayes. That's who it was. Sorry. Well, on the Pollazzo podcast, I remember you saying that, and I almost drafted him today. I really thought about it hardly because I think he's going to get a lot of at-bats, and that's important. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to go Tapia on this one.
Eric?
I'm going Tapia as well. They project him for a lot of steals.
Deary?
I'll go Tapia.
And David?
He's going to take Tapia just to guarantee a victory.
I was going to say, I mean, you guys know I was going to pick Tapia, but like I feel like just to make it fun, even though, again, Tapia would have been my answer, I'll go different and I'll say Hayes.
And David, when you zagged, you got it right.
Even better.
So Hayes is a $3 value. Tapia is a $2.80 value. So David, you are the winner. I want to give the tiebreaker question because I love it so much for our Detroit homies here.
We love it.
It'll be worth two points. 2 points, right?
There you go.
Let's go all in. I'll do or die.
Yeah. We'll wager our points.
I love it. Closest. All right. So this is a good question. Miguel Cabrera is the latest ADP for a player whose auction value is over $5. His is actually $9.20, according to the Bat X. So closest to his current ADP wins this tiebreaker round. Each of you are going to get a chance to guess, starting with, let's start with the guy who's on top. Let's start with David.
Shouldn't I get to go last?
No.
You don't make up the rules, Mindy.
I'm the captain now.
So what am I guess? I'm guessing his ADP?
Current ADP. He has the latest ADP for anyone with a value over $5.
Oh my God.
His is at $9.20. What's Miguel Cabrera's current ADP?
I feel like I'd be way off, but I'll say 417.
Okay. Eric, you're gonna go next. We're gonna let our guests get the last 2 guesses. Eric, what do you think?
371.
371. Okay. Mr. Deary, what do you think?
I'm going to go with 402.
And Mr. Govier.
It's great radio.
Sounds like
I gotta say Cabrera has been there a lot. I've seen him in a lot of drafts, and I think I have a ballpark of this, but since all these other guesses came before me, it made it a lot more difficult now. I am confused and torn.
You just go with the first number in your head.
Okay. Doc, first number in my head is 352.
352. You know, Mendy, you are living a charmed life. Guessing 417. His ADP is 533. 533 according to the Fangraphs projections. And Mendy, you walked away with this one. That's
dominant
impressive
performance.
I had to put on a show for the two good gentlemen here, so I'll give myself the round of applause that I deserve. Thank you very much. You guys are way too kind. But I want to get these two fellas out of here. And I guess I knew when we potting together that it was definitely going to be a 2-hour show. So I'm glad we kept it just slightly under. But gentlemen, please plug everything you got going on, everything you're doing, all the work you got going on, and just secret projects, anything. Let's start with you, Deary, and then Govier.
Yeah, you can check me out, Deary 1999. I'll continue to update what's going on in my TGFBI. And besides that, I'm just working a ton right now, so I can't be as involved as I would really like to be. Raz Slam starts on Monday. I have the 7th pick, and I got some heavy hitters in my league, so I'm super, super excited to get going on that one. And I'll throw it over here to Mike.
You already know what pick you have?
Yeah.
Huh.
You're in 500 leagugues, so you haven't checked your email.
Well, they just announced the leagues today. I didn't know.
Yeah.
If they ran the KDS yet. I didn't even
Sure
set
did.
it. Shit. All right. Well, anywho, I'm Michael Govier. I'm one of the hosts along with Christopher Deary of the Enrico Pollazzo Fantasy Baseball Podcast. And you can follow us on Pollazzo Podcast. 2 L's, 2 Z's on Twitter. Pollazzo Podcast. We'd love to have you come by. I'm at MJ Govier. G-O-V as in Victor, I-E-R on Twitter. You can DM me about anything, anytime. I'm totally down. I also do a mental health podcast. I do a movie podcast. So if you want to talk about some other stuff beyond fantasy baseball, throw some stuff my way. And don't forget, rotofanatic.com. We're a website. And I work there. I run it. I own part of it. So, yeah, I'm going to mention it.
I don't think I've ever heard you have an that wasn't intentional. You're so smooth.
Thanks, Doc. It's been great. I love you guys. You guys are great. We all had a good time here. And thanks for letting us be a part of your world.
Oh, feelings mutual. Glad to bring you in our world because your guys are weird just like us. We're just a perfect match. But everybody listening, everybody watching, we appreciate you. Make sure you check out next week. Bubba and Batflip are coming back for a triple play record 3rd appearance on the show. So make sure not to miss that. It's 2 other members of our extended family here. Until then, everybody watch some freaking baseball. Stay safe. We'll catch you guys next week.